No, it's not that we failed on the job for 30 years. It's that Russia and racism and misinformation and like all of this stuff. But I do think in a lot of ways it was a concerted effort. You ever see that that cartoon, which it's like a banker in like his corner office, and outside his window is all the Occupy Wall Street people protesting, and he's on the phone and he says, "Introduce them to identity politics." You know, like I'm not saying, I don't know if it went down exactly that way, but I think that cartoon's getting at something. Like I think there's a reason. I just don't.
Do you think the government is that competent that they could brilliantly socially engineer civilization that way?
I think a lot of the private interests that own our government are pretty competent, actually. You know, I think the government works in very sloppy ways, but if you look at it from the perspective of, say, like, you know, Lockheed Martin and Pfizer and companies making, you know, hundreds of billions of dollars in profits, they're actually working very well. You know, like the system's working very well toward that end. And I just don't think it was completely organic that after we had these disastrous wars and a financial crisis, and after you had the Tea Party and the Occupy Wall Street movement, that all of a sudden on some grassroots level, we were like, we need to have a national conversation about chicks with dicks. Yeah. Like, I don't think that just happened. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's like every day that's what we got to talk about now. That's the new thing.
What is the gentleman's
beautiful
name from
trans
Russia?
women. I'm sorry.
The trans, excuse me, the Russian guy who used to work for the KGB, Yuri.
Yes, I know you're talking about.
What is his last name? Jamie Bentonov.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Who gave the like lectures on how the Soviet Union was destroying America in the next generation?
And he talked about this in 1984. Mm-hmm. This was during the Soviet Union time. Yuri Bezmenov.
Yep, that's him.
Yuri Bezmenov gave a speech describing exactly America in 2023, describing how Russia had eroded, the Soviet Union had eroded all of our institutions and gotten in there and implanted ideas of Marxism and reinforced these ideas, and that this was undoubtedly going to lead to the demise of America. There's but the way he lays it out,
it's compelling, and there's definitely a lot of things that kind of happened exactly like he said they would happen.
Yeah.
And it's not, you know, it's kind of evolved. It's not really like traditional Marxism is kind of dead. No one's really advocating for like government ownership of the means of production. It's more now, it's just kind of like, it's really like corporate control of government with this weird, like what they call cultural Marxism, which I don't like the term because it means different things to so many different people. But the idea that like Marx had this economic view that everything, all of human history was a class struggle between like the oppressor class and the oppressed class. And if you like applied that to cultural issues, it's like describes wokeism to a T.
Yeah.
That everything can be reduced to like white, black, straight, gay, cis, trans, men, women. Like it's like everything is like the oppressor class versus the oppressed.
Yes.
Which is such a shallow, stupid way of analyzing anything. There's so much more to reality than that simplistic way of looking at things.
But it's so attractive to people, which is really fascinating. And that was what Yuri had described in this speech, and how it would captivate people. It's just, I don't want to believe, you know, here's an interesting thing about something like that. Like, even though we're saying everything he described seems to be happening right now, he describes wokeism to a T, he described what's happening in this country to a T, I still have an impulse, an undeniable impulse to reject it. Like, no, they didn't do that. No, they're not that smart. No, that's not what happened. There's a part of me, for whatever weird reason, and I think everybody has this part of that, that doesn't want to believe that something's happening while it's happening. There's a thing that's going on right now because we're so accustomed to being able to do what we do. We're so accustomed to be able to drive to work and do this and hang out with your family and go out with your friends. We're so accustomed to this. We don't imagine a world, despite all of the evidence of history. You could go see the Colosseum in Rome. You could go see the Acropolis and the Parthenon. You can go see all of these great empires that no longer exist. There's just stone structures where these people used to rule the fucking world. But in our mind, that was then. And right now, everything's amazing, and we're perfect. And if we could just get a trans president, we could fucking solve this. Like we believe in the moment. Yeah. We can't look at the vast amount of data that shows us the same patterns of behavior that humans are exhibiting right now have led to disastrous consequences in the collapse of civilizations.
And it's so easy when you look at those past civilizations to be like, how did you guys not see it coming? I mean, it's all around you.
Right.
Like, how are you not completely against? You know, there's so many examples like this, right? It's very easy to, and I have the same impulse. It's very easy to look in the past and be like, sweet, there was slavery and you were just like okay with it, like you weren't against that every single day, and then you're just like, now we of course down the road is a state prison, there's a bunch of people there for weed, but that's totally different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but it's like, I don't know, in 100 years if that all got cleaned up, you'd look back at that with the exact same view. You'd be like, you enslaved people for like bullshit.
People are writing about it on their phones, which are literally made by slaves.
It's like there's like all of this stuff right around you, but if you try to zoom out and you try your best to be disinterested and just analyze, and you go, okay, so where are we right now at the United States of America? So we are a republic that turned into an empire, got expanded all over the world, something I think 700 something bases in 135 different countries, trying to rule the entire world. Through the process of doing that, we've spent ourselves $30 trillion into debt, and now we see massive cultural decay into just like decadence.
Yeah.
What's that story? If that's not a crumbling empire, I don't know what a crumbling empire is.
I hear the America Fuck Yeah song in the background. That's what I hear. America Fuck Yeah. Come and save
those guys are so great.
Day, yeah. That's
dude,
what
is there
I hear.
anything better? That movie was so great, dude.
It's amazing.
Where they go over and just like destroy the whole place, and they'd be like, "You're welcome."
It's one of the greatest movies of all time.
So great, so great.
It's fun. That and the South Park movie. The South Park movie when
so
Saddam
funny.
Hussein has a sexual affair with Hitler. Oh, no, it was the devil. Excuse me.
Yes. Yeah.
Was Hitler in that too?
No, it was Satan.
No,
it was Satan and Saddam
right.
Hussein, and Satan's like the sub.
Right. Oh,
like
my God.
Satan's the.
That's right. And then there was real dicks. They could show a photo of a real dick somehow or another.
Yeah, they always figured out a way to do it. They're so on point, dude. Throughout the years, they've always just been so on point.
It's the best show of all time.
Yeah.
It's the best comedy show of all time by far. I just introduced my 12-year-old to it the other day, and she was blown away.
12 is a good age.
Yeah, I'm like, it's a perfect age. I'm like, she hears me talk. Like, I'm not very filtered.